what you want it to learn without talking to it, and you show it step by step everything you want it to know. I've been asked to make sure everybody understands that Bill doesn't talk to his dogs when he works them. What he does do, however, is before he teaches them the command whoa, he teaches a dog to stop. By that I mean that he puts a pinch cord and a rope on a dog, and he teaches the dog by slowly pulling back on the rope to plant all 4 feet. Once the dog has planted those 4 feet and learns to stop without anything but the pressure of the rope, Bill will then slack the rope, and the first time that dog goes to take a step, he'll pop him with a collar. You're watching him work a young dog right now that he's never had his hands on before. In fact, every dog in this tape was the first time that Mr. West ever touched it. So bear in mind he's dealing with some fairly unruly young animals. They have no idea who he is, and within an extremely short period of time he gets each dog he touches to handle and to do exactly what he wants it to do. I believe in a minute you're going to see him tighten down on a rope to stop this same young Brittany. When the Brittany goes to take a step, he's going to pop him with a collar. After the dog has learned to stop, and Bill can go out and walk around him, then he'll start stopping the dog and teaching it the word whoa. Bill claims whoa is the most overused word in the dog vocabulary or dog world. His favorite comment is, I don't say nothing to him. I show him what I want him to know. You're going to see several minutes there. You're going to see several minutes of dog training in this tape of Bill working with other dogs. But the most exceptional part of the workshop really was 3 long discussion periods.
If it wasn't everybody, you'd be a dog trainer. Just think about it a minute, and they would, because you have different dogs, they have different temperaments, different breeds, and different owners, and different handlers. But with puppies and things, it's very important the way you start them out. I'm not going to tell you what kind of dog you should get. Most of you got your own mind made up. I'm not going to tell you how to pick a puppy. What I'm going to try to do is try to help you train the puppy and start him off in the right way, that when you finish with him, you're proud of him, and you can show him to a judge or somebody, and they say, well, that's a good job. You take most people, it's going to make the dog do something. In other words, it's hard to make a dog do anything. You can train him to do certain things, but you can't make him do anything. If he does, he has a negative reaction. But if you go along with him, and he's any kind of a bird dog, he'll learn to do something. Now, you take a puppy, starting out with him, and you take a little puppy, take him out and let him run around, do whatever he wants to do. You don't let him chase around till he gets up to a certain size. When he gets up to that size, then you want to go out. The way I do it, I take a pigeon out and put a flag on it. I let him chase the pigeon down, because that is a live bird, and you don't want to do this too quick, because if he's too little, that pigeon will intimidate him. But take him out there and let him chase one down with a flag on it and bring it to you, and pet him and go around, and then take him on the check line and go around. And if you got somebody working dogs with you, take and let them shoot a blank pistol around when they're flushing birds. Make him stand back and watch. If he doesn't act like it scares him, take him out and put him on a pigeon, kick it up and let him chase it and shoot it for him. If he goes out and picks it up, that's fine. From then on, you want to start controlling what this puppy does. In other words, if you think that you're helping him by taking him out there and letting him catch a bunch of birds, that's wrong. And so you take him on the check line and start teaching him things. And the first thing that I do when I get out there, I don't teach him. I teach him to whoa, teach him to stand still, without teaching him what whoa is. Once I get him standing still, In about 2 lessons, I can tell him, whoa, and he'll stand there, and then I can walk all around. And the very way you put your hands on a dog and the way you handle him has something to do. I never take a dog now and take him out around the house here and try to train him because they have a negative attitude about it, and you lose a lot of style in them by just training them right around the house. They have a way of, well, what do you get me out here for? So I do all my work in the field around where there's birds. In other words, I put birds out there in that field, and I leave them out there, and I'll do all my work. Maybe let him point a pigeon. I'll do all my work out there. I teach him to come to me, teach him over here, and that's all done with a rope. And I don't know, without a rope, you can't train a dog. In other words, I've done it every way that everybody else has done it, and it's probably something that somebody hadn't, and I've had all kinds of results that, like everybody else had. So this is something now we're going to go out in the field, and we're going to take puppies or whatever, dogs up, say, 8 months old, 6 months old, something like that, and we're going to work at it, and we're going to find out the hands-on and the timing of working bird dogs is very important. If you're 2 seconds late on a correction, a lot of times the dog gets a negative reaction to it. And timing means everything. And electric collars is the greatest thing that's ever invented for dog training, but you can't train a dog with an electric collar. You have to train him before what you want him to do, and then that electric collar is like a long check line. And every dog has got a different temperament, and I do something a lot of people don't do. I don't hang collars on them, dummy collars. I take they've got the variable collar now, which is a great thing. You can put the deal in there that fits the dog. You know your dog, if you work him, or you know he's real sensitive to a collar, or he's not. And I'll take it after I've put it on for a while and never even used it. I'll put the thing in it, and then I'll teach him here, over here, just with the rope. I'll teach him that first, then I put the collar on and I say, here, over here. And I'll just tap him with the collar. And that conditions the dog know what the collar is, so at the time that you want to use it around game, then it's nothing new to the dog, see? In other words, he's done experience that by you just talking to him, here, over here. There's very few words you need to say to a dog. All this running to him and hollering whoa and then say, that's a good boy, that's not the way to do it. In other words, you distract the dog by talking to him. Whatever he does when he points in your training program, don't tell him whoa. If he's standing there pointing, don't say nothing to him, because if you do, you break his line of thought, and then he'll try to catch the bird. He'll try to beat you to the bird. So you let the dog concentrate on what he's doing. Once you get him pointing, I take a young puppy that don't want to point, and he wants to chase everything up. Everybody knows what a spike collar is. Now, these things are made up not to punish dogs with, it's to keep dogs from punishing you. In other words, if you don't have something on him that he's got a little respect, he'll drag you around your heels sliding in the dirt, see? So you can't train him as long as he's doing that. So you can take these things, you can file these off, you can have 2 or 3 collars. I've got 3 or 4 collars that I use. If he's a real sensitive dog, I put a collar on him that's not so severe. I want him to be able to go out against it and put a little pressure on it, but not drag me around. And to put it on pup and teach him not to drag you around, put this on him, don't say nothing to him, but if he's out there pulling on you that way, just pop him with that and then let the slack back out. Just pop him like that, and then directly he'll check line for you like he should instead of just digging in. Just reach out like that and just give it a jerk like that. He barrels back into it, give him another jerk. But when you got a puppy that don't want to point, put a collar on him, the kind of collar that you want. Take him out. You have a bird out there, take him up to the bird, and if he wants to chase it up, let him chase it up. Don't jerk the dog, but let him run into the end of the rope. Stop him and pet him. Then you can take him around that way, and you do that 2 or 3 times, and directly he'll come up on the bird without you saying anything, and he'll point that bird. I'll just assure you that they'll do it 9 times out of 10. You don't have to say nothing to him. Don't say anything to him. Once he finds out he can't catch that bird, he's going to point it. In other words, the instinct is there, because he said, if I can't catch it, I'll point it. The minute he comes up there and points, he starts to move up, you don't have to say anything to him. Just give a little tug with the check line, and that way it doesn't distract him. He'll stand there and point the bird. And there's lots of things that a guy can do. If you mess with all kinds of dogs, you learn to train accordingly, because every one of them has got a different temperament. Different breeds has got different temperament. Until you learn to control your temper and never do anything to your dog that you wouldn't do anytime. If somebody upsets you, comes out and they see your dog and it makes a mistake, if you get upset and start stomping your dog around, that's the worst thing you can do. And that's one thing that I was guilty of doing, and I've seen a lot of people do it. They get embarrassed. Don't let your dog embarrass you, because there's another day that you can keep training. And so we're going to go out here in the field, and we'll start in with a pup. And when I tell you, teach him how to stand still before you teach him what whoa is, that kind of boggles most people's mind. But if you teach him to stand still, then when you lead him out here and tell him whoa, then he don't have that tendency to want to walk forward. Because he walks forward, and you tell him whoa, and then you set him back. That's backwards, and then he always taking these steps. And it's hard to keep him doing it. So I find it easier to take a pup and teach him to stand still, and then you just, with a short rope, you just start leading him off and then tell him whoa. Let a little bit of slack in the rope, and if he starts to move, you just correct him that way with the rope, and then just walk around him, walk off. Really works. Now, it sounds backwards, but it really works for a dog. Make a dog stand still for you. So if everybody's willing, if his dog's not pointing a bird, he's not training it. But when you can be out there around people, and somebody's working a dog, and you can work your dog, and you stop your dog and let him watch that, that gets him to watching the other dog. It teaches him manners by making him stand there. And all this is connected with later on down the line, while the dog, you never take a dog around behind a dog if you can help it to back. Most people say, let me have a back. And he goes running around behind the dog. Well, a lot of times they smell, and then they wonder why their dog went from the front of the dog around the back to back. So I never take a dog behind another dog to back. I always keep him off to the side.